வெல்கம் டு 2 மினிட்ஸ் வீடியோ. அண்மையில் சர்வதேச கிரிக்கெட் சபை ஐசிசி தன்னுடைய ஹோல் ஆஃப் ஃபேம் வெற்றியாளர்கள் யாருன்னு சொல்லி அறிவித்திருந்துச்சு. இதில் இலங்கையை சேர்ந்த குமார் சங்கக்காரம் தெரிவு செய்யப்பட்டிருந்தார். இதில் வெற்றியாளர் தொடர்பில் ஒரு வெர்ச்சுவல் இன்டர்வியூ நடந்துச்சு. அந்த இன்டர்வியூவில் குமார் சங்கக்கார் மற்றும் என்ட்ரி பிளவர் ஆகியோர் கலந்து கொண்டாங்க. இதில் குமார் சங்கக்கார் என்ன கதைச்சார் என்ற தொடர்பில் தான் இதில் நீங்கள் பார்க்க போகிறீங்க. குறிப்பாக குமார் சங்கக்கார் தனக்கு எங்களை போலவே கிரிக்கெட்டில் பேட்டிங் பிடிச்சி தான் ஃபீல்டிங் தனக்கு பிடிக்கலன்னு சொல்லி தொடர்பு இருந்தார். மேலும் பல விஷயங்கள் காய்ச்சிரும். அது தொடர்பில் தான் இந்த வீடியோவில் பார்க்க போகிறோம். வாங்க வீடியோக்கு போகலாம்.
Let's come to you because, I mean, we talk about batting a long time. You were involved with that ridiculous partnership of 624 with your good friend Mahela Jayawardene. What drove you on to bat for so long, for so many, 11 scores over 200? I know your highest score was 319, but you and Andy Flower with 232 not out was the highest score for a wicketkeeper in Test cricket. You got the 230, but what drove you on essentially with the bat in your hand?
I hated fielding, I loved batting, Wilco. That would be the best way to describe it, and it'll be very, very true. Much like Andy and what Andy said, when I played Test cricket, even though it was not too long ago when I first started, it was a lot about patience, batting long, grinding the opposition down, and making bowlers bowl long spells. I slowly graduated from that, of course, to batting to score runs, and that kind of freed up my fatigue issues around trying to bat long. But I think when you get that experience of training really well, training with a plan, and then taking that into a game, you find a method that works for yourself, and then once you have that method, you add or take away from it at training, and you change with conditions, with opposition, and the stage of your career, and you basically rinse and repeat that, and that really worked well for me.
I just wanted to ask, actually, both of you, now that you're inducted into the ICC Hall of Fame, have you spent a bit of time reflecting on your career, and is there a special innings, one that really stands out for both of you?
For me, in terms of looking back at my career or whatever, I haven't really had the time or the inclination really to look back. I had very happy with the time I retired. I don't have any memorabilia at home, Lisa. Not even a single bat, unfortunately, from my playing days. To really, kind of make me look at them or remind me of the 15 years I played cricket. But in terms of innings, various times personally for me in Test cricket, my second series in South Africa, I wasn't really sure I was going to make the grade, but I scored 98. Being the last man out, having had to open the innings in the second innings in the Centurion Test match, I think in the year 2000. That's when I thought, batting against a fantastic pace attack that had Donald, Pollock, Cully Sintini, that maybe I was actually good enough to play Test cricket. That was my 6th Test match. So personally, that was quite good. And then in T20 cricket, I think it's a very special innings was 2014, knocked in the World Cup finals that got us home, which was very satisfying after having been in 4 other World Cup finals and not converting any one of those to a win. So that was very satisfying from a team and country perspective. But there have been so many others along the way, but those 2 really stand out.
Lawrence, get a comment from you. We're talking to 2 of the greatest wicketkeeper batsmen here in Kumar and Andy.
I mean, Kumar's record, you mentioned 11 double hundreds. I think only Don Bradman scored more double hundreds in the history of Test cricket. I think his insatiability, so he just didn't give it away. 12 scores of over 200. Actually, just saying this, it does remind me of I had a rare experience of seeing Kumar get out first ball in a Test match, and Andy may remember this because he was coach. He was at Gaul in early 2012, and I think Jimmy Anderson nicked him off first ball to Matt Pryor. The problem was playing Sri Lanka in those days that if Kumar didn't get you, Mahela probably would, and he probably scored 180. and Sri Lanka ended up winning the game. So if you got Kumar cheaply, you might still end up losing against Sri Lanka. But he ground the opposition down and always did it very elegantly, and as Andy said, sometimes eloquently from behind the stumps too.